Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 309 for episode Friday, August 19th, 2002. I am your host, Lance Brock, and first going to start off this episode by talking about this past Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite on TBS, which was sponsored by the new series on HBO Max, House of the Dragon. And the AEW World Champion CM Punk starts off with a promo and goes off a little bit off script and calls out Hangman Adam Page, which he was not there. And what I have read so far is that was a receipt from one of the promos that Hangman cut on Punk heading into their match at Double or Nothing. And then Punk calls out John Moxley, the AEW Interim World Champion, as he makes his usual entrance through the crowd. And these two have a pretty good promo battle here. And I will talk a little more about these two a little later on in the episode. And tonight's guest timekeeper, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And we also had the American Dragon versus the Dragon Slayer, Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And the first fall going to Daniel Garcia, after Bryan Danielson passes out. Danielson gets the second fall, and then also gets the third fall to win the match. And then in the back, the Jericho Appreciation Society is there. But first, Daniel Garcia has a little bit of problems with the rest of the JAS. And the fans are chanting to him, you're a pro wrestler. And then we see them in the back. And Ricky Steamboat comes in and he says that Garcia is better off without Jericho. And then Angelo Parker gets in his face and the Steamboat chops him. And Jungle Boy is out next. He challenges Christian Cage to a match at All Out. Tony Storm defeats Kylie King. And the match in the qualifying tournament, or qualifying match in the tournament, I should say, for the first ever AEW World Tag Team Championships. Faction Incantables taking on the Young Bucks and their mystery partner. And it was the returning Kenny Omega making his return to AEW. And they advance. And this one sees, after the match, Andrade DDT's Dragon Lee and his mask comes off as the show goes off the air. And that was AEW Dynamite from this past Wednesday. And tonight we got WWE Friday Night SmackDown, followed by AEW Rampage. Of course, the news that came out yesterday about all the releases at WWE NXT. I think there's like a total of 26 or 27 by now. There's been some more announced today, actually. Some of them are the Brookside and a whole list of others. Let's see if I can get to that list right now. And Amir Jordan, Danny Luna, Dave Mastiff, actually, Amelia McKenzie, Primate, Nina Samuels, Trent Seven, Ashton Smith, Jack Stars, T-Bone, Wild Boar, Kenny Williams, Mark Andrews, known as Mandrews in his time in TNA, and Eddie Dennis, Saxon Huxley, Sam Gardwell are the releases from NXT UK that took place yesterday and today. And apparently NXT UK is going on hiatus for the rest of the year. And then in 2003, I guess it's going to be NXT Europe. And in some other news here real quick, AEW has signed 2.0 Matt Menard and Angelo Parker to contract extensions. And Chris Jericho says he wants to retire before he becomes an embarrassment to himself. So, that was this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Kind of a short one. Hopefully the next episodes coming up will be longer. Thank you for tuning in to episode 309. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. Anything you want to say or whatever, 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. And if you want to help support 360 Wrestling Podcasts, you can anchor.fm / 360-wrestling podcast 360. Also, www.streamlabs.com / 360 Wrestling Podcasts. It doesn't have to be much. Any amount will be fine. It'll be appreciated. Until the next episode, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.